Hi guys, welcome to this week's reading. So I'm filming today on the 7th of October. This reading is going to be different to what I normally do, and what I'd like to do today, it's going to be a longer video reading. It's going to be me talking about Venus retrograde in Scorpio, and then it goes back into Libra in November. So I'm going to talk to you about it a little bit in general, just very briefly, and then what I want to do is focus on excuse my voice, sorry. I have been a bit sick, but I'm pushing through to do this week anyway. I want to talk about how this influence will affect each individual sign. So I'll put some timestamps under the video so that you can just skip ahead to your particular sign, or you can watch for yourself or your partner or someone that you know, whatever. Okay, so first and foremost, the Venus retrograde period starts basically yesterday, October 6th, and goes all the way through to November 17th. Also, bear in mind there is a shadow period, so you would have felt this energy if you're in tune with the energies, and if you know astrology, you would have felt it before October, probably from around the middle of September even, and you can still feel it till the end of November. Some people even say early December, so, or even longer than that, but I would tend to say end of November, early December, the shadow period of it. Now, with Venus retrograde, generally, you know, there's a lot of things here, but in Scorpio, it's very deep. It can definitely bring back soulmates from the past, and when I say past, it can be past lives, can be this life, but a lot of times, especially if you have a Taurus, Scorpio, especially the fixed signs, or if you're a Libra, it can be people from this life. So exes, you know, bumping into exes, hearing from exes, even ex-friends or old friends that you kind of have some unfinished business with, or, you know, with Scorpio, it's kind of going to be one or another. It's going to be to reconnect and heal and deepen the connection, or it's going to be to sort of have some kind of closure and move on, especially if you know it's like a toxic situation or a difficult relationship, and that other person is not growing, or there's no growth in the relationship. It may be just to resolve something and heal something and move on, or it can be just for you to realize, okay, that person, you know, I've given them so many chances and they've just really shown that they're never going to change. You know, it can be something like that. Mind you, in November, let me see, what have I got here? November 1st, Venus then will retrograde out of Scorpio and into the sign of Libra. So that does change the energy again, in the sense that it changes it a little bit, in the sense that it's really focusing on relationships really strongly, because Libra is the sign of relationships and cooperation. Okay, so and also Libra definitely relates to contracts. So if there has been something to do with a contract, to do with a house, or, you know, Venus is to do with your finances and security, you can be reevaluating something to do with a contract, or there can be, you know, a closure, because it's Venus retrograde, so it's revisiting something to sort of finish it off in a way, or to have a rebirth. So keep in mind, you're either finishing something off or having a rebirth, or you're reviewing your relationships in general during this time of the Venus retrograde, or even your ideas in relationships, because Venus is also about what we value. And so, oh great, wouldn't you know it, a leaf blower starts right now outside my window. I'm just going to push through, because that's just my attitude at the moment. Pushing through my sickness, pushing through the noises outside. Just make sure the window's closed. I hope that you can hear me through that. I'm just going to take a moment to sip my tea. That shouldn't be up there too long. Oh, yeah, and I don't have time to edit the video, so we're just going to have to bear with that noise. Alright, so also I want to talk about, you know, this reading this week is, it's not so much about the weekly energies, because as I said, I'm doing a special thing for Venus retrograde for all signs, but I do want to mention that right now we do have a new moon in Libra, at 15 degrees of Libra. So if you're a Libra born around the middle of the sign, the new moon can be bringing in something new, especially in regards to friendship, relationship, cooperation, contracts, that type of thing. And it is square with Pluto in Capricorn, so there might be a need to adjust to something. There could be some difficulty in a new start. That's this week, so that's today and tomorrow, the new moon in Libra. And Libra represents, you know, the scales of balance, relationships, as I said, contracts, refining things, cooperating with others, and with square with Pluto, this could have some kind of long-term effect with a decision that you make that is significant, and there could be transformation and change in your relationships, especially those people with anything around 15 degrees of a cardinal sign. As I said, as I always say, the cardinal signs are Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, and Aries. So if decisions in relationships will have long-term effects, basically with the new moon in Libra. And not for every single person, but especially, you know, more so those signs that I mentioned, okay? So that's this week. Back to the Venus retrograde information. All right, so what I'm going to do now is, thank God the leaf blowers just faded off into the distance and hopefully it doesn't come back. What I'm going to do now is just touch on, you know, Venus retrograde in Scorpio is kind of a heavy, deep, intense energy. You know, it's about deep soul bonds, deep connections, where we've really put our heart and soul into relationships. This is for those people that are in a relationship that I'm speaking to just at this moment, right? So if you are in a relationship or you have deep soul connections with people, even if they're friendships, you know, you can have very deep, special bonds with people that are just friends. You are reviewing something about these relationships. You are deeply looking at this. And even if you're not in a relationship, there may be people around you that you've connected with in the past and they might be around you again. You might be seeing them, or you might be feeling that they're going to contact you, or you may be wanting to reach out. If you feel so inclined, it could be to heal something there, or to work on, as I said before, closure in the relationship, or even taking it to a new level. It can be taking the relationship to a new level, because Scorpio energy is about deep transformation. It's about, you know, experiencing one phase of an experience and then growing out of that and taking it to a new level, and really growing and experiencing a deep transformation. It takes time to do that. So that's why often, you know, with the Venus retrograde too, this energy, it can be about soulmates with Venus retrograde in Scorpio, because it's something that you've been experiencing in a profound way, and you may have known these people before, whether in this life or a past life, okay? So, what else am I going to say? Okay, so, yeah, I've just written a couple of dates that are coming up during the Venus retrograde period. The week of the 24th of October is an interesting week, because on the 24th, the retrograde Venus conjuncts with the Sun moving into Scorpio for Scorpio season. So that's quite significant. I feel that could be something quite significant with soulmate connections for some people. Also at that same time, the Venus retrograde in Scorpio sextiles with Saturn in Capricorn and squares Lilith in Aquarius. So what I'll say about that is, on the 24th of October and the week of the 24th of October, be aware, especially if you have early Scorpio, or, you know, middle Scorpio or Taurus in particular. There could be a relationship, something significant in a relationship at that time, and with it squaring to the Black Moon Lilith, I would say you might be challenged by other people's perspectives about a connection that you have, or other people may you know, try to give you negative feedback, but follow your instinct, because this is a time with Venus retrograde Scorpio that your instinct is strong, you know, especially if you take that time to go within and really evaluate your true feelings and what's going on. You know, your intuition is very strong, and there could be an element of some kind of breakthrough in a relationship that stabilizes the energy. But again, there's this challenge from other people, so you may have to sort of ward off naysayers or difficult people or interfering energies. Even may not be people, it could be interfering, you know, energies in a different way. So be aware of that. The other thing I wrote down is the November period. So from November 8th to 10th, Venus retrograde is then in Libra, but it's in Libra from November 1st. But from the 8th to 10th, it makes a trine to Mars in Aquarius. So that's actually really good news for people that have late Libra, or born at the end of the sign of Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Or even if you have Venus at a late degree, so around 28, 29 degrees if you know your chart. But it is square the North Node in Cancer, so you're going to have to, if you're affected by this, if you're a late Libra in particular, as I said, this will really affect you in a positive way, but it's going to challenge you to step out of a comfort zone of what you're used to in some aspect of yourself. You may have to deal with inner shyness or inner kind of clinging to what you've known from the past, and it's maybe creating something new in a relationship by reacting differently, and, you know, getting yourself to kind of go, okay, you know, I've done that before, maybe it's time for me to step out of my comfort zone a little bit and try this new experience in my relationships. Maybe I need to look at how I communicate. That is no longer working for me. That's maybe it felt like a comfort zone to sort of react in that way, but now I've got to challenge myself to do better and to refine, because Libra energy is about refining how we present ourselves. And with this Venus trine to Mars, there is an opportunity for especially those late born Libras to have something positive happen in love around the 8th to the 10th of November. So make a note of that time, that date. Okay, I'm just going to sip some tea and I'm going to get into the cards. So today I've got something that I don't normally have. I've got 4 different tarot decks here. And I'll mention each one as I go through them and use them. But I'm just going to go with my intuition to pick what I want to pick for each sign. So I think I'm going to start with... okay, so just to explain, I've looked at the astrology, the solar astrology for each sign. So in my mind I know, you know, where the influence falls. I'm not going to give you too much technical information about that. I'm just going to refer to that myself and look at the cards and see what is coming up. And if you do know your astrological chart, it's best to look at, I mean, the solar astrology still relates, but I'm factoring in 2 different houses because, for example, with Aries, when, and this applies to all signs, but it'll be different houses. When Venus is retrograding in Scorpio, it's going to be in Aries 8th house, then it goes back to Libra, it's going to be in Aries 7th house. So for each sign, I'm factoring in 2 houses, okay? And I'm going to pull some cards. So let's see. Let's start with Aries. I'm going to use the Golden Universal Tarot. And for, as I said, for Aries, it's 8th house and 7th house. So I'm going to do 2 cards for each sign. So if you're an Aries, this could be a difficult time for you when you're letting go of some kind of deep connections. You might have to make some choices there in love, and that could be kind of difficult for you because you're kind of very deeply in some kind of situation in your love life, and it could be sort of difficult to see things clearly in that deep place that you're at. So it could be a time of letting go or making a decision, because then it goes in November, it goes into your 7th house, so that could be about making decisions and making a choice. Oh, there's a leaf blow again. I'm so sorry about this. Making a choice in your relationships, and you know, you're really thinking about things, Aries, about your relationships and your deep connections, and where your shared resources are as well, your money, and where you want to put your resources, your time, your energy, your life. And it's definitely about making some kind of choice in relationships over October and November. So I would say also go with the flow. Don't try and force things, but if things are going to come to an end, they should naturally come to an end in some way. Or if they're not coming to an end, they're going to be shifting and changing. So you need to be a little bit adaptable about that and not be too sort of stuck, Aries. I'm going to get you this card. So look at that as October, and the second card will be November for the Venus retrograde. All right, so the 9 of Wands for Aries. Oh, and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, interesting. So for Aries, you guys might be feeling a little bit defensive, but also wanting to persevere through the difficulties right now. So you might have a lot going on, and you're just not sure kind of what you're doing at this time. You're feeling a little bit guarded. Maybe you're worried about some kind of something coming out. Be careful with hiding information, because with Venus in Scorpio until November 1st, you know, information that's hidden, or if you're hiding something, especially because it's in your 8th house, which is a very hidden house, the Venus retrograde, it could come out, okay? Because then we have in November the Wheel of Fortune for you. So it shows that something's going to change for you guys in November. That's to do with your relationships, to do with what you value, to do with even your finances in some way. There's a big shift in November. So in October, try to sort of, sorry, I've got a cough, and sip some tea. Sorry about that. It's going to be the noisiest reading I've ever done. Oh, I apologize. Okay, so in November, there's some defensiveness. You feel some wariness, some caution. And yeah, just be careful with the energies around you in October. November, did I say October? I meant October for that. November, Wheel of Fortune shows fated change is coming in. So go with the flow of what is happening around you. Maybe don't try to over-control situations, but look at, excuse me, how you can work with the energies at hand, work with how things are unfolding, and just, it's almost like you'll get moved into the changes, and you just need to kind of accept in a way without offering up too much stubbornness or resistance, Aries. So I really see this as positive relationship change for you, where you've been feeling a bit wary and cautious. It's kind of like things start to shift in November for your relationships with the Venus retrograde, and you'll get more clarity, and things will start to open up and change. And, you know, this is fated change, so it's a good thing. and it can help you move forward where you've been stuck. All right, so Taurus, 7th house and 6th house. So your 7th house with the Venus retrograde in October and your 6th house in November. So Taurus, 7th house for October and your 6th house of work and routine in November. I ended up talking about the houses. There you go. Couldn't help myself. Okay, so Taurus, oh, interesting. Could have someone with a strong mercurial energy here. Perhaps, you know, a Gemini type energy. A person, you know, it could be a Gemini or someone with strong Mercury. Could be Aquarius even. Strong Mercury is also Virgo. I mean, usually that doesn't usually relate, but that's what I'm getting for this card. So, interesting. There's something to do with, oh, the Three of Swords. That's difficult. All right, so for October, you could be dealing with somebody who is a strong communicator, has a lot of skills. I'm drawn to the roses in this one, so it's something to do with, you know, a connection where you feel a genuine bond with somebody. It could be, for some people, it could be romantic connection, or it could be a soul connection, soul group, person, soulmate, that type of thing. A lot of thinking about, you know, this situation for some reason in October for Taurus. I'm getting the word restlessness for some reason, so I'm not sure if that's to do with it's probably to do with the Taurus person, or a restless energy around relationships in general. November looks a little bit difficult for Taurus. I'm a Taurus, so I'm not too happy about that Three of Swords there. Some emotional pain, loss, you know, with Venus retrograde, it can be letting go of a relationship in some way. So this could be a painful process for Taurus, letting go of an aspect of a relationship or a relationship. And, you know, the 6th house also is to do with health and work. So for some Taurians, it could be an ending in a work situation. That could relate because it's a strong Mercury. Mercury relates to communications, and there could be an ending there in October for either a work situation or a relationship, potentially. It could also be to watch out for your health, because you could be feeling, with Venus retrograding, you know, Venus being the ruler of your sign, Taurus, that you just feel in November, I hope I'm saying the right months, oh my gosh, so much information going through my head at this time. In November, you could be feeling that you're exhausted emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's kind of what I'm getting here. It's like you've had enough of some aspect of life that has been maybe a bit difficult, and you kind of just needing to release. And I'm also getting healing with, so especially that relates to the 6th house. Maybe for some Taurians, you need to go for a healing session. Acupuncture with the swords. It's funny because I was also looking into acupuncture recently for myself. And yeah, that's what I'm getting, acupuncture or other healing modalities, because I feel like Taurians have been through a long time of difficulty. Let's just say it, since 2011. And then Saturn was in Scorpio. The Scorpios, that was back in 2012. The Scorpios and the Taurians really copped a really hard time for a couple of years then. And now we've got Uranus in Taurus shaking things up, you know, big time. So time for healing for Taurus in November. That's what I'm getting there. And dealing with possibly someone who's very strong with Mercury energy. So Gemini, Virgo, and a soul connection there. All right. Oops, one of the cards fell. Okay. I'm going to change decks now and use a different deck for... I've only got 4 decks here, so I might come back to that deck. For Gemini, I'm up to Gemini. I'm going to use the Mythic Tarot. Alright, so this is going to be a long reading. As I said, I'm already 20 minutes in. I'm going to lead up to Gemini. So Gemini, this is Venus retrograde in Scorpio will be your 6th house of work and routine. And then when it retrogrades to Libra, it will be your 5th house of love, children, creativity. Interesting. Okay. So Gemini for October. And this one wants to come for November. Okay. I don't do reversals, so there we go. Okay, so the Temperance card, interesting. Could be dealing with a Sagittarius energy for October, but it is more so to me about balancing your health, okay? Wherever there's been imbalance or sort of some darker energies, because Venus in Scorpio can be about bad habits, addictive habits, addictions. That totally makes sense to me for Gemini. You guys are trying to balance things out in October, trying to sort of heal yourself as well. This is a card about healing. Look at all the rainbow energy with the chakras, energy clearing, clearing your energy field, you know, especially Venus in Scorpio. As I said, it's very heavy, and it could have sort of triggered maybe some dark thoughts or some toxic behaviors, you know, because it's the 6th house in the astrology there. So it's about clearing and cleansing yourself, Gemini, and sort of refreshing your spirit is what I'm getting there for October. Also for relationships and work relationships, try to come at things from a more harmonious, positive attitude rather than seeing things as a battle or fighting people in any way. You might more be like needing to take on a new approach where, you know, the old way of kind of seeing things in a kind of negative light in the workplace or with people around you day to day needs to shift to a more positive perspective, less cynical, more kind of uplifted and positive, and giving people the benefit of the doubt more so that you can be happier as well yourself. This is a good card for Gemini for November. This is the 5th house. So to have the 10 of Pentacles in the 5th house shows that love matters are looking really, really good. Matters of the heart, family, children, if you have them. You know, heartfelt feelings being expressed and feeling like you have everything around you that you need. November does look really, really positive for Gemini. So there's also abundance coming in. So with Venus retrograde in your 5th house, there's some kind of feeling of just feeling loved up, and also it's very material abundance as well. So that's really positive. That's nice for Gemini. Alright, I'm going to use the deck again, and I'll use this deck for Cancer as well. So for Cancer, it's your 5th house of love in October, and then your 4th house of home and family in November. So what have we got for Cancerians? This one here, Cancerians, and this card. Ooh, Wheel of Fortune again, and the King of Wands. Okay, so Aries also had the Wheel of Fortune, but they had that for November. So Cancer, Wheel of Fortune in your 5th house, some kind of change to do with your love life. Also, if you have a child or you have children, there's some kind of growth happening with a child or children. It could be that you express your feelings in a situation and it opens things up and gets things moving in a positive way. I'm getting the word truth here, so it's about opening up to your truth, letting your truth be known, and your truth will create a healing. That's what I'm getting. So, you know, Venus in Scorpio retrograde does bring out the truth, especially because Jupiter's in Scorpio as well at this time. So this is really significant for things coming to light. See how they're in the darkness there and there's light out in the distance. I feel like you may be afraid of expressing your deeper emotions, Cancer. You may be worried about how it's going to be received, but this is telling me that it's actually going to be received well, and it may be a bit difficult for you emotionally, but it's actually a good thing to release your emotions and feel refreshed as a result. King of Wands for November for Cancer, 4th house. So there's something about either a husband figure or, you know, it could be it's a fire sign, so it could be a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo person in your life. Father figure, you know, there's a focus on a relationship here with somebody that is quite fiery but also quite protective. That's what I'm getting, someone who's quite protective. And there could be changes in the home life in regards to your connection with this person. If this is you and you are a Cancer, you could be changing something to do with your home off your own volition, because it's that fiery energy, which is a leadership type energy. So you could be the initiator of changes in your home life if you're a Cancer. Okay, I'm going to use this deck still for Leo. Okay, so Leo, it's your 4th house in October and your 3rd house in November. Ooh, something's flying out here. Got to use that then. 5 of Swords, not the best card. Excuse me. Some kind of arguments perhaps in the home, or to do with family or love matters, some kind of stress there. Let's look at November. Oh, the Queen of Cups. So dealing with a female water sign perhaps for Leo. Or if you know your chart, you could have a water sign, moon sign, or water rising sign, and it could be you. But if you're dealing with a female, she would be most likely, but not definitely, I just have to mention Scorpio, Cancer, or Pisces. But you are dealing with someone in the month of November, Leo, that is wanting to communicate in a open flowing way with you. Okay, so it does favor communications in relationships, because the retrograde Venus in Libra is in your third house, so interesting. It relates to communications with a female, speaking, diplomacy, negotiating a contract even. It could be something to do with even work, and you're, you know, dealing with a female where you have to negotiate the terms or something along those lines, okay? But just watch out for those arguments or feeling a bit too hot-headed in October, Leo, because it might be a little bit difficult with the Venus retrograde in your fourth house of home and family there. All right, so Virgo, this is third house and second house. Okay, what do we have for Virgos? Something there and there. Three of Swords. Huh, we had the Three of Swords before for Taurus. The Star, that's a good card. Okay, so Virgo, I would say, you know, this could be psychological stress because it is in your third house for October. So a lot of deep thinking, but it's causing you pain for some reason. Maybe you're analysing a situation that you're not happy about, or you're sensing some kind of trouble brewing, or you're anticipating some kind of trouble in a relationship. The Three of Swords is usually associated with, you know, unfortunately heartbreak or disappointment in love. That's quite hurtful. But for some reason I don't feel it as severely as I normally do with this card. It's like storm clouds brewing. It's like you're thinking things are going to be way worse than they are, is what I'm getting with the storm clouds there. But just be careful of your own thoughts, because you could be harming yourself, Virgo, by over-analysing and overthinking your relationship situations and friendships. There could be something to do with a reevaluation of your own thinking to do with your relationships, and something to do with insecurities and self-esteem. So you may be addressing that in yourself. The Star card for Virgo that's a good card for November, where it's talking about your second house being affected by the Venus retrograde in Libra. So this is to do with some kind of patience is needed around your money situation, your shared resources in the sense of relationships. So if you have anything that you share in relationships that relates to your belongings, but also to do with your sense of fairness and what's right and what's not right in your relationships, it's advising you to have patience, Virgo. Also, I feel like this is new energy for how you feel in yourself and your self-esteem. I feel like you're coming out of this darkness into more light and more positivity. So that's really good for November. All right. And I'm going to try a different deck now. I'm going to go to the Green Witch Tarot for Libra. So Libra, November's obviously very significant since Venus retrograde is in your sign. So it'll be interesting to see what comes up for November. But October, it's your second solar house, and November, it's your first house, of course. So let's see for Libra how the Venus retrograde in October and the Venus retrograde in November will affect you. Wow, the Ace of Wands, amazing. Five of Pentacles, okay, interesting. So the second house is to do with the Ace of Wands here with the astrology and with the tarot. So this is to do with partnerships. So it could be a renewal in love here and a very strong desire or attraction with somebody with the Ace of Wands, and a new beginning is potentially being offered by, could be someone from the past coming back in, again, past in this life or past life. But there is a new beginning here. So it's also related to what you value and understanding better what it is that you really value in love and in relationships. So you're really processing that on a deep, deep level. November, you've got the Five of Pentacles. So it's in your first house. So this is about you looking after your health. You might feel that with the Venus retrograde in your first house that your energy is a bit lower, and that is a common thing to feel when, you know, if you're someone like a Taurus like myself, or a Libra, and Venus goes retrograde, or even a Scorpio because it's in Scorpio as well, you might feel not as shiny and bright and effervescent and bubbly and Venusian as you normally would feel. So this could be addressing a health issue, or just you might be feeling a bit low energy wise in November. Just look after your health and give yourself that extra self-care, Libra, because you will need to. And try to take it slow. Don't try to force yourself and push yourself in November, because the Venus retrograde can make us feel a little bit lackluster. I know I'm definitely feeling that a little bit. And yeah, so it's just sort of a little bit of a word of caution to not push yourself health-wise or with your physical body, not to overdo things or overtax, you know, yourself, because it's in your first house. So balance is needed to be healthy. This my camera cuts off at half an hour, so I'm gonna continue on. There'll be a part 2 with Scorpio next. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, this is part 2 of the Venus retrograde through the signs video. This is going to be for Scorpio now. So Venus retrograde in Scorpio is in your sign in October. So the same type of thing applies to what I said to the Librans for November, is be aware of your health, because you can feel a little bit lackluster when Venus is retrograde when it's in your sign. You can feel a little bit drained of energy, especially if you're dealing with toxic people, heavy energies, which you could well be doing with Venus retrograde in Scorpio. It can bring some dark energies bubbling up to the surface to be healed and dealt with. So take it easy on yourself, Scorpio, for October. Let's see what cards you have for October from the Mythic Tarot for Scorpio. This one wants to come out. And then for November for Scorpio, which is going to be your 12th house. Alright. Interesting. The Knight of Wands. Whew. And the Emperor. Wow. Okay. So this is for your first house, Scorpio. So, interesting. So Venus retrograde in your first house is giving you some kind of passion. It's bringing up your intensity, your desire nature. It could drain you a little bit as well, so just be careful of being too gung-ho and pushing things too quickly, because with Venus retrograde you really need to take your time to see what's actually going on in relationships and in love and in finances. So don't push too hard, because really it's best to take things slow. That's what I'm getting. So you may want to, you know, Scorpio is very all or nothing type energy. You may want to just go gung-ho into things, and you know, it is co-ruled by Mars, which is a fiery planet, so that does make sense for Scorpio not to push yourself or situations, relationships too hard at this time, because on a deeper level you're actually reevaluating everything to do with your relationships and your finances and your security and, you know, what you truly value in these areas of life. So that's what I'm getting, is just actually take it easy, okay? The Emperor card is for November. In November, the Venus retrograde in Libra will go into your 12th house. So it's letting go of something on a deeper level. You could be needing to let go of control, because this is a card that very much relates to being in control. That's actually what I'm getting here very strongly, and it makes a lot of sense to me. The eagle here talks about seeing things from a more spiritual perspective, okay? Seeing things from a higher perspective, and, you know, not being so much in your ego, but kind of letting your ego take a little bit of a back seat for a little bit, so that you can get the higher wisdom that's coming through to you at this time, which is very important for you guys in November, okay? There may be things that you need to let go of. You may need to just let go of resistance or a desire to over control your relationships or to overly control situations. And when you let go, it's almost like you're allowing the magic of the universe, of your guides, of your higher self to take over. And when you give things space, you sort of let the dust settle and, you know, let it sort of flow how it's meant to flow. So that may not be easy for Scorpios, because Scorpios like to be in control, but that is the advice very strongly I'm getting for that in November, is to let go of, you know, your ego's kind of push factor and kind of just pull it back just that little bit. I'm not saying to sort of, you know, completely negate the ego, but just to sort of let it go a little bit, so that your higher self can step forward and see what, you know, you truly need to do at this time, and listen to that more spiritual side of yourself. Alright, so Sagittarius, I'll just, what will I use for Sagittarius? I think I'll still use this deck for Sagittarius, then I'll change for Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. So Sag, alright, so in October it's your 12th house, and then it goes to your 11th house. So the 12th house is a very deep spiritual house. Let's see for October for Sag. What is going on for Sag in October with Venus retrograde, and November? Ace of Wands. Interesting. And the Two of Wands. Wow. Some kind of new start is on its way. That's pretty amazing. So in October, there's a new start that's sort of pending, in a sense, is what I'm getting. It's like you want to take charge of things, Sagittarius. You want to, sorry, I've got a cough. You want to make a new start. And, you know, this could be a new start in the way you do things. It's a very practical energy with the wands being depicted here. So you could make a new start in a work situation, career-wise, or to do with something that you really want. Interesting, it's got the golden fleece there. So I'm getting the word achievement. So there might be something that you want to achieve, Sagittarius, in October, but it requires an understanding of yourself on a deeper level. So it's not so much about an impulsive change. It's about having that wisdom that you Sagittarius do have, and you know, using that to guide you forward in a way that has integrity. This is interesting because we see in the background the representation of Sagittarius in there. I don't know if you can see it on the card, but the oh my gosh, why can't I think of the name of the half horse half man? I can't think of what it's called, but the Two of Wands is just funny that came up for the Sagittarius card. I love that. So there could be something going on in groups to do with some kind of change, to do with friends, groups. Noticing that there's two there. The Two of Wands is waiting for news to come in. It could be that you're hearing from a friend from the past, or you have an invitation to something related to social matters, or a friend, you know, gets in contact with you and has something to say. So there's something about social scene, old friendships returning, and also new beginnings in October and November. And also I'm pretty sure it's, let me just double check, in November, Sagittarius, you guys have got Jupiter going into your sign. Is it November? Let me check. Yep. November 9th, Jupiter goes into Sagittarius. So there's definitely new beginnings for Sagittarius. It's pretty powerful. All right. So let's look for, sorry, move the camera there. Capricorn, I'm going to get the Witch's Tarot for Capricorn. So for Capricorn, it's in your 11th house and then your 10th house. 11th house of friendship groups and 10th house of careers. So Capricorn for October, Capricorn for November, Venus retrograde energies. Ooh, 10 of Pentacles, nice. 8 of Swords, bit difficult. Okay, so great, now my battery's flashing. I'm going to try and finish up. All right, so October looks really good for Capricorn. There's a sense of doing well financially, support in some way, or things are, you know, feel like they're working for you in some way. So that's very good. You could have more money coming in, something to do with home life. So you could have opportunity to change something about your home, buy a new home, expand in some way. There's a lot of positive financial benefits here for Capricorn for October. November looks a bit difficult with the 8 of Swords, where it's like you feel this is to do with your goals and direction. You might feel uncertain now all of a sudden, where things look quite bright in October, but you're like, okay, well, where do I go with this? What do I actually do? And you just might struggle in your mind a lot. So there's some mental struggles going on with your direction. If you're married, there could be a struggle to do with married life or career for Capricorn November. So the advice with this card always is for November for Capricorns is this is sort of a psychological trap that you're getting yourself into here. So just be careful of that, because it may not be that you're actually trapped. It may just be that you're getting yourself, you know, into a mental space that's not healthy, with perhaps too much worry or fear. Aquarius for October and November. Aquarius. Yeah, it's this one here. Ooh. Oh, wow. All right, Aquarius. In October, there could be someone visiting you from the past that has some kind of control over your mind, and it's possibly an ex-lover or an ex, you know, soul connection that's affecting you psychologically. And perhaps it's confusing your direction. That's what I'm getting from that, from your life path. Just let it play out and see what happens. Don't make any decisions in October about love or career. That's what I would advise. The Empress is a good card for November for Aquarius. It shows that there could be, it's actually, sorry, your 9th house. I don't know if I said that before. There's very positive energy around higher education, travel, good feelings to do with revising what you want in the aspects of your beliefs, and you're actually reevaluating your belief system. It's the Venus card here, so it's interesting because it shows that you might be changing something to do with your beliefs, Aquarius, in November, and it's going to be empowering for you. So I really like that. That's nice. All right, so I'm going to do Pisces now, and hopefully my battery lasts because it's just about to die. Pisces, this is in October your 9th house, and then in November your 8th house, which is a very deep psychological house. So Pisces, October. Ooh, Queen of Pentacles. And Pisces for November. Interesting. All right. Rebirth in November and some new developments there. October, there could be someone, a female that you're connecting with, to do with either your education, overseas connections even, or a new deeper level of spiritual understanding with a female in your life. It could be your partner or relationship or something along those lines. If you are a female, this could be you, and you're developing a deeper understanding of your own inner self. And there's something about having money for travel, so that's positive, and being able to sort of use finances for something that is really important to you, that you really believe in. Page of Cups for November shows you could have a deeper understanding of a child if there's a child around you, or it could be inner child work to do with past traumas, past relationships that hurt you, looking at the past of your relationships and how it's affected you on an emotional level, going back to kind of an innocent part of yourself. Definitely inner child healing I'm getting from this, or healing to do with a connection with a child if it's your own child, or you know, your inner child. It could be either one. But in November you are forced to look at your relationships in a deeper way, Pisces, and how you relate to others, and how those relationships have shaped you and how you behave in relationships. So it's going to be an important time in November, especially the first week of November for Pisces. Alright guys, that was the Venus retrograde tarot reading for all signs. I hope that has helped you in some way, or you found it interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back next week with the usual weekly reading. Thank you so much. Bye.